Tonight I want to take the opportunity to introduce myself to you. I have been a longtime resident of Marion County. I grew up here. My father was in the Army and we moved here when I was 5 years old, and I consider this my home. And it's because of that that I have decided to run for Marion County Commissioner. I am a practicing Christian. I'm a working woman. I'm a single divorced mother. I have learned a lot of hard lessons through life, and through that I have learned to cut coupons, learn to budget, to live within restricted finances. In fact, there was one time when my daughter, or for a period of time when my daughter was a toddler, that I lived in South Salem, and I drove every day to work in Mount Angel, making $7.45 an hour so that I could support my daughter and not be on government assistance. I grew up on a small farm in Amsville and learned the value of hard work. My father, who's a retired police officer, would take vacation every summer during the entire month of July. During that time, it was hay season, and my sister and I were the farmhands, and we would cut grass, rake it, and then bale it and put it up in the barn every year. I graduated from Salem Academy Christian High School and then attended Portland State University and graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Political Science. I went on active duty in the United States Army as a commissioned officer and served 1 year over in Korea, which was a great opportunity for me because I had a much different job than what a normal second lieutenant would have. I was able to work with 65 Korean civilians and 5 soldiers, and learning to lead at the same time as leading people of a different culture gave me an understanding of what a diverse world we live in and a great appreciation for other cultures. Once I returned to the United States from Korea, I was stationed at Fort Carson, Colorado, and from there was deployed to Mogadishu, Somalia, and served in Operation Restore Hope. I have learned about sacrifice. I came back and was assigned to the Commanding General's office as his Secretary of the General Staff, and learned a lot through the time I was in the Army about leading people and about prioritizing things. Once I was done on active duty, I went to work in the private sector for 2 different companies, Pillsbury, making pizza rolls, and then working for Smucker's in Woodburn. I was a production supervisor, and then for a year was the human resources director at Smucker's. While I was there, they decided to close that plant, and as the human resources director, it was my responsibility to help the employees transition to a new phase in their life, which was very tough for a lot of those people. Here they were, people my age, and that's the only job that they had ever had. It required compassion and it required listening, helping people find the resources that they needed. I believe in smaller government, personal property rights, individual liberty. I am adamantly pro-life, not just in the womb, but from the time of conception through the end of life. We need to make sure that we value people throughout their entire life. I'm also pro-Second Amendment and a lifetime member of the NRA. I am running because everywhere I look, it looks like government is nibbling away at our freedoms. Government is not self-limiting. We need people to be elected that are liberty-minded people. As I've been researching what's going on in our county, I have the budget book back there. And in just a short time of starting to look into that, I have found things that are truly concerning. We are closing justice courts that people are upset about because we're saying we're saving money. Yet at the same time, the commissioners are getting both PERS and 401ks paid for by your tax dollars. I think that there are ways that we can look to cut the budget that are more important than cutting service to the citizens of Marion County. I'm also concerned about Covanta. The people that I've talked to remember that when that bond was passed, the promise was once it was paid off that rates would be reduced. That hasn't happened. The bond was paid off in 2008, and they have elected to keep that money. It needs to be returned. Government needs to keep its promises to the citizens. I'm also concerned about parental rights. I was talking to one of the women here about Common Core, and this morning I got a call from my daughter, very concerned after she'd only been there for 2 periods, when both of her teachers had been talking about Common Core. She understands the issues. I'm also concerned about parental rights. Did you know that if you have a 13-year-old daughter, she can go to the county health department and she can receive birth control pills or the morning after pill without your consent or knowledge? That's not right. A 13-year-old does not have the ability to make those kinds of decisions. I am concerned about the CCOs. Those are the method that Obamacare is being implemented in our county. Our commissioners just a couple weeks ago voted to extend the contract with the CCO in Marion County through the end of this year and then automatically renew it for 4 additional years. We need to be concerned. That will impact every one of us. We all see what's happening with Obamacare and the fiasco that it is. We need to look at ways to improve care. What are we going to do when that money runs out?
2 minutes.
Those are questions that we need to be asking and things that I want to look into as a county commissioner. It's time for change, and it's time for me to serve again. May 20th, who will represent you? Please vote for me, Kim Brady, Marion County Commissioner, Position 2.